The second strategy that I want to talk to you about today is bidding to value, or BBB, as I've mentioned. As I stated earlier, we see a lot of value in the human-assisted AI, and that essentially is what bidding to value is. In very, very simple terms, it's about shifting mindset from just optimizing towards conversions to optimizing towards valuable conversions. It goes beyond a traditional CPA type bidding strategy, which treats all conversions as equal, towards a method where you are telling the system that actually all conversions aren't equal. Some people are just going to be more valuable to us. I like to compare this a little bit to like having a personal shopper. So a traditional shopper, you'll give them a list, they'll just go out and buy anything that matches what's on your little shopping list. A personal shopper, someone who actually understands you and what you value, they might prioritize buying the highest quality, most valuable items for you, as opposed to just anything on that list. And that's essentially what bidding to value does. It prioritizes what's important to you based off of the signals and the information that you give. In the context of, why we're here today, and the reason we're talking about bidding to value is because of how it drives that incremental performance and more value from your media budgets. But the value of VBB doesn't stop there. It's also a great way to optimize towards the objectives and KPIs that your business actually cares about, which can sometimes get a little bit lost as we're going through life. It's also a great way of aligning your bidding optimization across different channels and of maintaining your optimization capabilities in a privacy-first world post third-party cookie deprecation, once that eventually sets in. So this is a bit of a visual representation of the flexibility of value-based bidding. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. You can tailor it to your really specific business goals. So coming back to the core principles of like our first-party audience section that we spoke about before, it really comes to, what does value mean to you? What is a valuable customer to you? For a retailer, as an example, value might be about increasing profit as opposed to revenue. For a SaaS company, it could be about driving people to higher value product tiers as opposed to the free trial subscriptions. For services, it could be about improving customer loyalty. So no matter what type of business you are, where you are in your journey, there is a VBB approach for you and for what your business values, which is one of my favorite things about it, is just how composable it is. With VBB, it's not so much about flipping a switch and turning it on. You do need to understand, obviously, your business objectives, your campaign objectives, and then really define the data points that best represents that value. As you can kind of see, there's different layers of complexity when it comes to value-based bidding, depending on your business strategy, internal alignment on those definitions, and access to your data. You can start as simply or as advanced as you need. Many of our customers start with the more simple approaches, like the assigned values or the weighted conversions, and then they work their way up over time to things like value-based, modeling-based, even some attention-based activity for video, as an example. With the low complexities, we can kind of start with things like standard conversion values in the platform. That's going to inform your bidding algorithms, what actions are most valuable for your end KPI or outcome. For an e-commerce, this could be revenue. Very, very simple. Moving into like the mid-range of complexity, this is kind of when you might be adding in or bringing in data from other systems. It might be including offline conversion data from your composable data platform to factor in conversions that happen in a physical store or over the phone. I know a lot of businesses currently have extended sales processes that end in phone sales or phone conversions. So that's a really important one. And then if you want to get super tricky and do something a bit more complex, this is where we can get into the world of like predictive modeling. You can use your, again, first party data to create a predicted lifetime value score as an example. That's a really valuable tool or a really valuable signal to pass back to Google, because it allows the system to bid higher for a customer who is likely to spend a lot of money with you over their entire relationship, not just that first purchase. What I will say when it comes to VBB is just start somewhere. Even a simple value-based strategy is better than nothing. And you can always get more sophisticated over time. And if it sounds a bit tricky, let me know, because we can help. When it comes to VBB, you can pass any data, essentially, that represents a valuable outcome to your business. These are some examples of the type of data that you can send. It's not necessarily limited to this, but we find this is a good representation of most use cases, and it gives a good idea in terms of how much data maturity you need to have and how much time you need to have at your disposal to actually approach one of these implementations as well. It might be that you are super keen on doing some lifetime value bidding, but you might need to start with some revenue to begin with and just prove that value back to your business to get a little bit of leeway to then go and do your lifetime value. But essentially anything that you need to inform a bidding strategy of what is value, there's a way to get it to the platforms, whether, as I said, simple implementation in platform conversion values or something a little bit more advanced where we're using your CDPs to push that information across. The beauty of value-based bidding is that you're not limited anymore to a simple conversion. You're actually able to align your advertising spend with actual profitability of your business. And of course, I have some examples of customers that we've supported in achieving exactly this. So we've worked with a lot of our customers, I will say, on value-based bidding. What I do note with these examples specifically is there were definitely some foundational data strategies that we had to put in place first to make this a reality. So what I generally recommend to people who are looking for a place to start, just take a look at what you've got. You probably have more data and information at your fingertips than what you realize. And if you just kind of sit down, take a look at what you have at your disposal, you'll usually find a pretty easy entry point into value-based bidding. And then again, get more serious over time, do things a little bit more tricky and fun. But the first example I want to share with you is value-based bidding from one of Australia's leading publishers. The goal here essentially was to profitably acquire new subscribers through their paid search campaigns. Now, historically, this was a channel that didn't deliver high volumes of conversions. And so it was really important that we were able to maximize the return for our spend and really optimize the money that we were investing there. In this case, we had varying subscription models that fed into how effective or how profitable those campaigns were. So to address this, we used value-based bidding to optimize towards the actual subscription value in Search Ads 360, which resulted in that 92% ROAS year on year, which is a pretty significant improvement and efficiency for that media spend. The second example is that same Australian superannuation fund. This, I think, is a really great example of where business and industry challenges can be addressed through value-based bidding. So for this customer, there's a significant delay between acquiring a new customer and then realizing the value of that new customer. This creates, a bit of difficulty in making actual data-driven decisions when the data flow is segmented and delayed. So in this case, we used VBB using the conversion value approach for their display activity, and essentially we're able to acquire new customers at 20% less cost, which is absolutely fantastic. So with VBB, essentially, what we find is when you are able to align your bidding strategies with your actual business value, you don't just get more conversions, but you actually get better, more profitable conversions at a lower cost. This is essentially, to me, proof that bidding to value is a critical part of optimizing and not overspending.